Looks like everyone uses small mirrorless cameras today to make videos. But these are originally meant to be photography cameras and not video cameras. For video, we traditionally have cinema cameras and camcorders. So why is it like that? Are cinema cameras really that much better for videography, or is your mirrorless aka hybrid camera actually enough? In this video we will find out, and I will show you how you can rig up your hybrid camera at a pretty low budget to get most of the benefits that cinema cameras give you. Let's start by answering the question why people even use cinema cameras. As you might have thought, traditionally cinema cameras offered the better video quality. This is mainly because they are bigger, which means they can pack in some cool tech that smaller cameras can't, or at least couldn't. However, camera technology got pretty good, small and more affordable, so the footage of modern hybrid cameras is hard and sometimes impossible to distinguish from cinema cameras. Higher end cinema cameras still have an edge, but most users won't be able to tell the difference. The next reason is that cinema cameras feature professional video codecs and RAW recording. These codecs are key for more flexibility when you edit videos. However, many modern hybrid cameras also feature such codecs now thanks to faster storage technology such as CFast Express cards and smaller file sizes with codecs like ProRes RAW and Blackmagic RAW. And even most modern cameras that don't feature those codecs give you the option to shoot in 10-bit 42 HEVC, which is optically hard to differentiate from professional codecs but produces much smaller files. You just need an optimized computer to edit them. I recommend any M-chip Mac, they all cut those files like butter. Cinema cameras also include many video-centric features that hybrid cameras often miss. Some of those features are on the hardware side, such as internal ND filters and timecode. Others are on the software, like waveform monitoring, shutter angle, and some more. Some hybrid cameras, especially from Panasonic, have these features actually as well, and on other cameras they can be added by attaching an external monitor, and they are not must-haves for the general video creator and amateur, so it's not really an issue. I, for example, don't really use those features at all. A problem that most digital cameras face is called rolling shutter. The camera reads the sensor's pixels line by line from top to bottom, what causes distortions of the image during fast movements. That's called the rolling shutter effect. Cinema cameras usually have quick reading sensors and often include global shutters to minimize or even eliminate this distortion effect completely. Some modern hybrid cameras feature fast reading sensors as well though, and you don't notice the rolling shutter effect in slow shots, so it becomes less and less of a problem and many video creators can live with it. A feature that mirrorless cameras generally lack of is the extendability. Cinema cameras are made to attach all sorts of gear and mounts to set them up properly for different shooting scenarios. So overall, cinema cameras are better in regards to extendability, but most of the extendability part can be compensated for by rigging up your hybrid camera. We will also come to that a bit later in this video. The size of cinema cameras also allows for better heat management, so these cameras are not affected by overheating and can therefore run indefinitely. Most modern hybrid cameras, however, don't really suffer from overheating as long as you shoot in frame rates up to 30p, and some of them even offer internal fans. So depending on the camera, overheating is likely not an issue, but I do understand that cinematographers prefer to be 100% safe by choosing dedicated video cameras, because time is money overall and you don't want to lose a client because you had to wait for your camera to cool down. My last point is a bit ironical, and that is that many people actually choose cinema cameras because they are bigger and heavier than mirrorless cameras. While we usually prefer small and light cameras, big and heavy cameras have the advantage that their weight reduces shake naturally without the need of sensor stabilization. That gives it the natural organic looking camera shake that we're used to seeing in cinema movies. Sensor stabilization in hybrid camera bodies also reduces shake, but it often looks too smooth, and if it shakes it gets quite jerky and wobbly, especially on Canon. The rather stupid side of bigger bodies is that many clients perceive a big camera as more professional, what helps justifying higher prices for your videos and gives the client confidence that he chose a real professional. I think that will change over the next 10 to 20 years though. So, as we just saw, cinema cameras have their advantages, but that leads me to building my own Fujifilm X-H2S camera rig, because rigging up your mirrorless camera can make up for areas where it falls short compared to cinema cameras. Now, you can rig up every camera like that, it mustn't be the Fujifilm X-H2S, but I use this camera because its quality overall comes very close to cinema cameras, it even rivals some, and it features professional codecs internally such as ProRes 42 HQ. So let's rig it up in 5 steps. I want to start with the lens that I chose, and that is the Siri Nightwalker 35mm f1.2 Cine lens together with the Siri anamorphic adapter. This lens combined with its anamorphic adapter is a big hit with filmmakers, mainly because it's super budget friendly and the lens has a really nice look to it. With a T1.2 rating, it's awesome for getting that dreamy background blur. The adapter adds a 1.25x squeeze factor, so it doesn't squeeze too much but creates the cinematic widescreen look that we all love. Vertical sucks, by the way. It also gives you some good looking but not over the top anamorphic lens flares, plus it's built tough and has great manual focus control. What's really neat is that you can use the adapter with other lenses too, even your photography lenses, making it more flexible than just getting a standard anamorphic lens. To let you see the difference, here's a quick demo that shows the difference between the photography lens, the Cine lens and the Cine lens with the adapter combo. I was always interested in shooting anamorphic, but there is one downside to it, and that is that you have to manually focus. But focusing manually on a small camera screen sucks. It's just too small, and even with focus peaking turned on, I missed it quite often in the past. That's why I prefer to use an external monitor when I manually focus. Simply attaching that on top of the camera via cold shoe mount is not the best solution though. It's hard to balance your camera in the hands while moving it, and the monitor eventually gets loose and falls down. To solve that, I got the SmallRig X-H2S camera cage as the base together with side and top handles. This cage attaches fast and easy and gives you all the mounting options you need. The side handle gives a wider grip, so the camera handles better when a monitor is attached on top. The top handle is great for quick low-angle shots. The cage itself also features an Arcoswiss compatible tripod plate at the bottom, so you can directly mount it to most tripods. Now it's time to mount the monitor on top. I chose the new Viltrox DC550 Pro monitor. It's probably the best bang for the buck when it comes to monitors, as it only sets you back between $139 and $198 depending on the model. It's super bright at 1200 nits and offers all the important video features such as focus peaking, waveform monitors and even LUT support to see how your footage will look after color grading. It also comes with a sun hood and everything you need in the box, including the mount and a battery. You won't actually need the battery, but it's good to have it for other use cases. You can use it, for example, for your camera slider or so. Another monitor that's quite common is the Atomos Ninja V. This one is more than a monitor, as it lets you record to external SSDs in ProRes RAW, so you get even more features. However, it costs quite a bit more, so if you only need a monitor and want to save some money, the Viltrox is a great option. Now, the cage, handles and monitor could already be enough, but I want to make manually focusing even easier by also attaching a so-called follow focus system. SmallRig luckily was so kind to send me the F60 follow focus system for this video. The system easily connects to the side of the cage and even features a palm rest, so it's comfortable to hold. The Siri Nightwalker lenses and the anamorphic adapter feature integrated follow focus gears, so the follow focus fits perfectly. If you use the F60 follow focus with other lenses, it's also not a problem because it can work without follow focus gear, great for your photography lenses. After mounting it on the cage and lens, focusing manually becomes pretty easy as long as the camera is on a tripod or you hold the camera steady. I still find it a bit hard while I'm moving the camera though. That's why instead of the F60 I would recommend to look into the Magic Fits wireless follow focus hand grip kit from SmallRig. It costs a bit more, but therefore you only have to scroll a little front wheel with one finger to focus and therefore avoid shake. I'm a total noob when it comes to follow focus though, so that might also be the reason why I shake quite a bit. That looks good now, but the setup feels quite front heavy at first due to the rather heavy lens. External monitors also drain batteries quickly from my experience, so it makes sense to add a so-called V-mount battery to the back. That balances the whole rig, adds more weight for stable footage and prevents your batteries from draining. To do so, I use the compact V-mount battery mounting system from SmallRig, which connects perfectly to the camera cage. Then I simply attach the battery. The battery I use is the new VB99 mini V-mount battery from SmallRig, which is actually very nice because it features 2 USB-C, 1 USB-A, a D-tap and 2 DC outputs, so you can power everything on your rig at the same time with it, even if you have more than just a camera and external monitor to power. And if you don't use it on your rig, you can also use it as a power bank to charge your drone, phone, laptop and all sorts of other devices. I know batteries sound boring, but that one is actually really nice thanks to the many ways it lets you use it. So now I've built this whole rig. It was actually not as difficult as I thought and as it looks like when you see such a rig for the first time. But what I've noticed while I planned and built that rig is that it all makes perfect sense when you think about it. You start with the Cine lens, which has manual focus, so you make focusing easier with the screen and follow focus. And to do that best, you add a cage and attach a handlebars to compensate for the added top weight of the monitor. I would say it's finally time now to go out with that rig and shoot something with it. So I finished shooting this little short film here with Roma. He's already gone, had an appointment, so he can't attend our meeting here. However, let's talk about that rig, and I can overall say that it was a nice and fun experience actually shooting with it, mainly because I could directly see that anamorphic look de-squeezed on the monitor together with the phantom LUTs that I used here to monitor it, so I can kind of see how it will look later. And also like the overall setup. On one side it's very heavy and it's big, but that also makes you feel like you're shooting differently, like more professional, if that makes sense. And I can see that in the shots. That's definitely something different as I would usually do. However, I must also say that this will certainly not be my main rig or something like that in the future. At first, simply because of the size and weight. For my regular content and also travel stuff, I need something small that I can easily carry around. And there's also the problem with autofocus, especially if I want to film myself, etc. Then I just need autofocus. It's just quicker. I had actually quite a lot here that I really had to figure out the focus first. Of course, it would probably get a bit faster in the future if I get used to that, but it's still not the same as just basically having autofocus somewhere and locking it in place. So for my regular setup, for my regular content at least, I prefer a small setup like I usually use. However, I must also say that for my fully scripted videos, if I go a bit more into storytelling, etc., where I have shot lists, then this is actually a really nice one because that gives it a certain look. And for those kind of videos, I also have a bit more time to set everything up, etc. And actually want to get more and more into these videos probably over 2024, because I feel that just making tutorials, reviews and some travel videos, like cinematic videos with certain cameras and stuff, makes me feel kind of stupid because I do that for years now and I've really grown in my filmmaking, so I think I can do better. But yeah, for those kind of videos that you will likely see a bit more of in 2024, I will likely use this setup a lot simply because I like this anamorphic look so much and generally how the footage comes out. And by the way, I didn't mention that before if you're curious. Here in the front I have the Peter McKinnon Raccoon matte box from Polar Pro. It's basically just a variable ND filter with a mist filter in front, and you can use that matte box here to like block out the sun. You don't necessarily need a matte box like that. It's also just that it looks big and makes the whole setup look more professional. You can just use a variable ND filter together with a mist filter to get the same effect essentially, but you know, like it looks good. It fits the setup overall. That's why I did that. Anyway, I would say it's time to go back into the studio and answer the final question. So let's wrap this up. Would I say that you need a cinema camera or is your current camera enough? I would say it really depends on your camera and what you want to shoot. If you're worried about the video quality, I think you will be totally fine as long as you have a modern hybrid camera with good dynamic range, such as the X-H2S, the A7S III, FX3 S3, S5 Mark II or so, they all look very good. I mean, the movie The Creator has been shot entirely on the FX3 and even has a few shots from an old Nikon DSLR mixed in as far as I know. So quality-wise, these cameras are perfectly fine and most other features can be added by rigging it up as we just saw. So I think that you really only need an actual cinema camera for very specific reasons, like if your clients require one to match with their cameras, or if you need global shutter for action and sports, or let's say you just want to have the comfort of things like internal and filters, etc. So I would say that what makes the bigger difference is clearly the lenses you use, and especially cine and anamorphic lenses, because those give you looks that most photography lenses don't, so that will improve your videos more than getting a new camera. But what do you think? Did you like the look from the anamorphic lens, and do you see yourself using a camera rig like that? Let me know in the comments below, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.